This idea actually just popped in my mind. So welcome back to another video. My name is LUNARWASLOST. Socials down below if you want to get at me. I'm streaming over on Twitch. It's all down below. So yeah, definitely come catch me live sometimes. I'll try to do pretty long streams, but yeah, let's get into it. So your imagination is key to connecting with energy, spirits, ancestors, whatever you would like to call it. The reason I say whatever you like to call it is because it's all just aspects of you and things that you can tap into. It's like the law of one, or whatever you want to say. It's all connected. A lot of people always tell me that they have dreams of me in them, or with me in them. And what that is you're calling on my energy because it's universal. I do feel like there are certain people where their energy is harder to call on because they don't feel as though they connect with too many people, or whatever the belief may be. But I do feel like, you know, you can still connect with energy depending on the circumstance. But with me, for as many people say that they see me in their dreams, it's because I make it a point to have my energy very free. Though, you know, there's a whole thing with, I don't know if I pop up as a succubus in my dream, you're a freak. But nah, I'm just saying. But in truth, your imagination and where you run with it is what makes the entities you're dealing with real. But there are entities that exist. Okay, so I'm trying to like explain it in a way where, so you know how people talk about ghosts and yada yada and all that stuff, and usually people get scared because it's all like all the spookism. Oh, ghosts, I'm terrified. Well, spirits and tree spirits and the dead, you can connect with them. You can connect with them. I referenced the book, it's one of my books. You'll see it. And not one of my books, but a book that I have that I recommended. I think it's How the Spiritual World Influenced, or How the Dead Influence the Living. But it's all tied to imagination. So they've broken your imagination down years. Actually, just recently I got to talking about this too. You need to build it back up. I'm not even lying to you, because I don't hear people talk about it in this way, so maybe it's my turn. Take a brush. I got a brush right here. You know, one of these brushes that you would imagine somebody trying to get waves and brushing their hair down and do-ragging up. Imagine this brush, the wood on the brush it's a living being. And I'm talking to this brush. Yeah, you know what? I should just call the video like Imagination Makes Entities. But imagine I take this brush and I talk to it every day. Eventually, you're going to start giving this shit a voice. And what you have to understand, or what's going on that makes sense to me, but it's actually recorded because you make the entities in your mind. Like, oh man, there's something I was going to reference, but I'll talk about it in a little bit. It was going to be about Baby Yoda, but I'll come back to it. But this brush, you'll eventually start giving it a voice. Like, do you remember, was it Survivor? Whatever the thing was where the dude was on an island and he had like the soccer ball Wilson, or volleyball, and it was like named Wilson, and how there was a study done that because he talked to it, he was able to keep his sanity. I feel like someone can keep their sanity no matter if they have painted a face on a soccer ball, or where you go crazy or some shit. No, I don't believe that. It's depending on how strong you have your mastery over your mind. But eventually this fucking brush right here, hard bristles, will start talking back to you. I know, sounds fucking insane. But what I'm trying to get at is, even those ancestors that you make up in your head, they need your imagination to be more free, to be open to receiving stuff from them. So the more you do exercises with kind of giving things life, because everything here vibrates. Everything is energy. You tap into that flow of consciousness that is able to perceive these beings, like the tree elves. When you hear people talk about elves and fairies on like psychedelic trips, you're tapping into that with your imagination. And one of the things I was trying to get at with the brush is these entities, you create them also to serve you or to aid you. If you're working with dead energies and like old gods, you're working with them to do something. So like, you know, maybe you want it to rain, so you're like calling on Odin and Thor. But you have to understand that you are working with these energies and that the energies are not above you, if that makes sense. Because if you were to die and someone used your energy, for example, like so many of these philosophers or people that are referenced, like Nikola Tesla, when I made his video, I was tapping into his energy to make the video. He was with me while I was making the video. It kind of makes sense in my mind, but I hope I'm getting the point at least across, that you have to open your imagination. You literally have to free your imagination to be able to do stuff like this. But it's like I take this brush and I'm like, hey Rex, that's the name of the brush. I'm like, yo, you ready to get waves, bud? And like in my head, I just heard a voice that just said, hell yeah. Like it's talking to me, and it's literally calming and warm, almost like as if, it's insane to say, but it would sound really wild, but it's like I could still leave my house and have a normal conversation with someone, because it's like, it's so weird to try to break down. I'm like almost laughing trying to explain it, but the point is the more you give this stuff life, because everything is around you is alive, you make it alive. Or you could really perceive it as just dead, and it would serve you pretty worse, from what I say. Every time, like, it's almost like when you would smack the remote to get it to work. We don't know why we all did it, but we all smacked the remote, and then all of a sudden we thought the batteries like worked, or it would. But the magic of that was that we really believed shaking the remote and hitting it really made it work, and at times it really was magic, right? That's the same thing here. I can tell the brush, like, we're going to get waves. And maybe my belief in this brush, and it reflecting it back to me, really gives me the power to consistently get waves. And maybe I even get them faster. And I lose concept of time. And I'm like, oh shit, I actually have waves. Shit, I'll brush right now. Oh man, I'm having fun with this shit again. But that's what I'm saying. It's like the mic I'm even talking into. Sometimes I'll hit it and I'll really be like, oh, you okay? Like, I'm sorry. Because I really be smacking into it. And one day I actually thought it broke because it wasn't like reconnecting. I was like, no, like, please be okay. And really treating it as if it was a real being, giving it life. Because there's so much energy around us that we're so unaware of, and things that we can make alive and come to life. And funny enough, you witness shit like this on psychedelics, which kind of shows you there's a world that we really can't perceive, or that we've been programmed so much that we can't really perceive it, like how people brought computers and all this stuff into fruition from their imagination, mind you, from their imagination. And it's like, this world obviously exists. You just have to tap into it by using your imagination. And you can do it with anything, but especially if you want to tap into ancestors and stuff like that, I say start practicing doing this. Start practicing literally losing your mind, because you're not losing your mind. You're not crazy. You're thinking you're crazy because of what you've been programmed to believe over years of conditioning. That's what it is. You have to uncondition yourself. You're literally not crazy. This world is insane. The fact that this whole thing exists is insane. So what is insane when you call yourself insane? If you call yourself insane or crazy, it's normal. You know what's funny? Actually, that'd be off topic, and I'm going to save that for another video when I go to shoot it. But it had to be calling weird. And actually, let me tie back to the Baby Yoda thing. Baby Yoda is an entity that everybody created. When that meme was going around, it showed the, like, being outside the loop, I was the observer. I was like, wow, everybody is really tied to this Baby Yoda energy. They are really they're feeding this entity. It pops up so much because people can't stop talking about the Baby Yoda. They're such big fans of Star Wars. And I even heard that like the person who made Star Wars or wrote it and did the whole thing was into like metaphysical knowledge like this and knowing how to like really tap into the feelings of people, but making significant characters that people remember because these are entities that we collectively agree upon. And actually there was a thing about Groot and how Groot was actually, there was an ancient tablet someone found that mirrored Groot. Like literally these entities that they be making in shows and Marvel and stuff, of course Thor and Norse mythology, are actual entities, and you tap into these energies when you pay attention to them. So like Baby Yoda, for an example, Baby Yoda could literally be viewed, as crazy as someone would make it sound, as someone's god. Someone could literally be like, Baby Yoda, that's like God. Baby Yoda is God. And that becomes their reality. They make an entity where they're literally serving Baby Yoda or they're tapping into the energy. Same with Groot. Like Groot, the difference between Groot, which I probably should have used Groot, is Groot was like a tree spirit and like healing, and like you can call on his energy. You could literally, if you can tap into believing that you're working with Groot or whatever it may be, whatever your feelings tell you, that you're tapping into actually using Groot to like heal yourself, heal people around you, grow plants, but you're using Groot for what Groot is like known for and collectively accepted as. Baby Yoda is like, I don't know, collectively accepted as cute and stuff like that. So maybe you call on Baby Yoda to like that like goofiness and curiosity to protect your child's curiosity and goofiness. I don't know. This is how far the mind can expand. They say the mind has limits. Like that's the agenda they try to push. But you hear so many people say it, and I just remember a bar from Schoolboy Q that popped up in my head. But he was like, "The brain don't got limits. Your soul ain't authentic." I love how he was saying it, and it was just so dope because it's true. Your imagination knows no bounds, and that's truly the masterpiece of how this works. Your mind can go crazy. It can go as wild and free as it wants to. You can make literally, it sounds schizophrenic, right? A bunch of friends in your head. I can have like somebody sitting on my bed right now. I'm alone right now, but maybe when I go to sleep, I put myself on the astral plane and I'm fucking dreaming of an entity next to me. Like I go to bed with the intent to, it's just, the imagination is literally the key. But alright, enough of me rambling. I think it's time for me to head off. So I will see you in the next one. Peace.